Hello everybody and welcome back to Bedrock Survival with Fix, episode 175. It's time for the world tour, and we're doing the world tour in RTX style. Oh man, I have been working really hard to get a good, convincing RTX combination of all the different packs that I can find that work and what works and what doesn't work, and combine it with the couple little texture pack changes that we've made, like the improved, in my opinion, terracotta look and the better color scheme, the better wool, the panes, the glass, the double slabs, all that kind of stuff. We're not 100% there, but we're there enough that I think we can successfully do this tour. There are a couple little things if I wanted to really point them out. Some of the glass frames, like the framage part is transparent. It doesn't seem like this is one, but some are. And stuff. So right now we're dealing with sort of a combination of a pack because I'm just learning how to do it. The learning curve is very steep. It's about 5,000% harder than just doing a regular texture pack yourself. So yeah, well, we're gonna just tour around here and take a look at things. I'm here by myself today. Unfortunately, I had hoped and I had talked to everybody about having Klautos join us today, and unfortunately he has some things come up and is unable to record. So I totally understand. No big deal at all. I'm just going to go at this solo today, and maybe we'll revisit Klautos coming in the world and hang out at a later time. So this is the little mining village that we did right before the last world tour. I have not touched it since. I've been a busy beaver in this world, but not here. So I'm not going to dwell a lot on this. You've seen most of this stuff before. Maybe you haven't seen in RTX mode. And yeah, this is the little chicken cooker, and oh man, it's really beautiful. So this is where we started, and for about 173 episodes, this was just one house, and that's it. And finally decided, hey, let's make Spawn a little bit better. Let's make this into a little bit of a mining community. And I think it turned out really well. I think it's cool. I tried something new for me, and I think it went really well. But I built all the houses basically exactly the same, and they all have little variants and stuff. But for the most part, they're all the same format. And actually, if you've been following my Realm of Vast years, I've taken this same sort of housing design over there, and I've been doing some of those around my mega base. But you can see I use diorite roofs on all of them. I use spruce trim on all of them. I am in team anti-trim at this point now, but I wasn't then, so I'm gonna leave it. You know, it's fine. There's a place for trim. I think that wooden trim on stone roofs works better than stone trim on wooden roofs, if you know what I mean. Like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense when you think about it, like why you would trim your house in stone. But it's all right. I think it's kind of cool. Just, you know, just a bunch of houses here. Yeah, don't look in the interiors. I know. I eventually we'll get there. I do have a plan to work out on all the interiors, but we're just not quite there yet. You know, I know some of the people have said about, well, the RTX thing, everything looks really glossy and stuff. And yeah, I agree. That's one of my least favorite aspects of it. But I do think with this, I think it's called a bump map. I just think it looks cool. It looks like it has texture to it. You know, it looks like you could run your hands along the grass. And I think it's pretty cool. I really like it. So here we have a little cow pasture, and not a lot to see here. This is just my initial cow pasture, and also pillager farm, rather, apparently. And yeah, you know, early game you need a lot of leather, and you need it pretty early, and it's kind of hard to get. So this was where I got all of my leather. I did a little bridge here. Let's take a look at this. Oh man, I got to address this lake bed. You can see through the water so clearly in RTX, and yeah, it's pretty obvious that it's terrible. But yeah, we'll work on that. But the bridge form itself, I think it's kind of nice. You know, it looks a little bit. It's a little. I remember it being bigger than it looks right at this moment, but it's okay. It's just you know, we just needed a bridge, and I tried to make something that's a little bit more interesting than a flat bridge, and I think it kind of works. If you walk up this way, then this actually is a big fake ridge. This wasn't here up until very recently, but if you walk over here, you'll find a oh, look at those iron bars. Oh man, those are nice. Just a little storage. You know, I do the same chest monster everywhere I go, and then what I do is eventually I build a house around it. But I always go with andesite, diorite, granite, gravel, dirt on one side, and then do all the stone on one side, and then all the other stuff, organic some wood, blah blah blah. It's fine. I did use a little old Java trick that apparently it still works in Bedrock, where if you take a piece of carpet and put at least like a 3-block fall, and put a carpet on top of a torch, mobs won't go in because they think that they'll hit the ground. And apparently it's worked, because I've AFK'd in there and never gotten killed. So I don't know. Don't take my word for it for absolutely sure, but I think it works. Also, coarse dirt, baby. We got coarse dirt slabs. These are wooden slabs. If you want to get them, you have to give them to yourself. I've shown that in texture pack videos. I'm going to do a full texture pack release once I get all the little bugs worked out of this one, and I'll show you. But if you grab the texture pack, you can you have to give them in creative. There's no way to get them, unfortunately, because I'm not running add-ons in this world. But if you follow this along here, you're gonna go to this little sheep village. And I thought this was cool. You know, I want to start little areas, little villages and stuff for all the different animals and even colors of wool and all that kind of stuff, just so we can sprawl out all over the landscape here. And this was my very initial sheep farm here. Not a lot to see here. It's just a little pasture, and it seems as though most of my sheep have either escaped or swam away, because I used to have a lot more. There's a little red sheep swimming over there. Another pillager. Pillagers I just collect them. I just collect pillagers. And yeah, again, I built all these houses in one episode. I just wanted to have just a nice little village. I really need to come in here badly with like bone meal and stuff. You can see, you know, Java, I think grass spawns a lot more, and in Bedrock, it seems like this is so flat compared to Java, just probably because of no grass. Like, I wonder if we just did, I'm curious here. If I just did bone meal, how much better does this look like? It's going to look a lot better, right? You know, just some of that, maybe a couple of little high ones in there. I mean, you got to be pick and choose. Maybe not quite that much, but you know what I mean? I think you just need to, all the empty space really needs grass, but man, that's so beautiful. It's so nice. It's really great. I really love it. And I even like how the sun reflects off the wood. I think it's cool. It's really great work. I should give credit where credit is due to the pack that I have primarily borrowed most of my maps from. Which, if you go down here to global resources, it's made by Nicenator, Nickinator, maybe Nickinator, probably. I spelled names wrong. I don't look too close to how fix that. Anyway, yeah, I needed an example to learn how to do it, and he had a really good pack, so I've been using that a lot. I think it's the same pack that Pixel Riffs used in his Big World Tour, but he goes straight vanilla, and I have quite a few changes to the pack that I need to make so things don't look so goofy. So here we have our very first mob farm over here, and I think it's cool. It doesn't work especially well. It's very slow working, but in the church here, oh man, look at that green. Is it going to be green on the wall? Oh, it is. Oh, it is green. Oh, that's so cool. Man, that's so cool. Love it. So I found a mob spawner, a zombie spawner, and I had hoped that this would be my experience farm, and it is, I guess, but it's really crappy. It's really, really crappy. It barely works. So it takes forever to get up to like level 30 so you can get your enchants and stuff, but it worked enough that I could at least enchant my initial tools. And yeah, and then up there we have a wizard tower. So let's go and take a little walk up there and see. There's a few textures that I think I'm probably going to end up changing that I thought were cool for a little while, and they were cool for a little while, but then maybe I'm kind of over them. Like, for example, this little fishing hut. This is supposed to be an AFK fishing hut. I had Dom come on one day and try to build me a passive fishing farm, and it never worked. It just never. We tried, it never worked. But basically, underneath here is just where like the fish will just drain down there. Like if they get too close, and salmon spawn in this lake all the time. I've gotten like none, like zero salmon ever to spawn in there. Let's take a look, and I'll show you. Well, I'll probably end up being a big liar, and there'll be like tons of salmon, but I don't think so. I think for the most part, here, let's see. I got one. I got one salmon, and I'll be honest, I probably just ended up like throwing it in there, probably. So, but anyway, it was a cool idea. It was a cool idea. I like the idea. I wish it had worked, but the idea was you would come up here, you'd rent a little place, you just fish. Look, there's salmon right there, and they just won't. They just won't swim underneath where this fishing thing is. I don't know. I don't get it. And a little stables. I've lost my horse. I had a horse named Fasty who was great, who was a really fast horse. And I left him somewhere. Or killed him or dropped him in lava. I don't know where he went, but yeah, he's gone. So this used to be Fasty's stables, and now Fasty is unfortunately no longer with us, I don't believe, but yeah, RIP. If you grab the world download and you find Fasty, could you please let me know where he is? Because I would really like to find him. And if you go up here, this was one of our last things that we did in this area. We did a sugarcane farm, and For the longest time, it was just a sugarcane farm out in the middle of nowhere, and finally I decided to build a house around it, and you can just see it barely ever fires because I'm barely ever in this area loaded, but it works. It's like that old regular pistons push the sugarcane. I'll tell you what, one thing, when you're building with RTX, which I don't build with RTX, but if I were building with RTX, man, you got to build very differently as far as light goes. Like, you need a lot more light, because the light, not for mob spawns, but just to keep everything lit up so you can just see. It's quite a bit different, but it's really cool. It's so awesome that it's a thing, and I'm so grateful to the Bedrock devs for making it happen. Years after announcing the super fancy graphics pack or whatever, I'm so grateful that it's actually here. It's really cool. So I decided to make a little mini wizard tower here just so I could enchant my stuff, and this is where I am. This is where I did it. It's not as big as where I had hoped that it would be, to be honest, but it's okay. It's just, I built this very early game, and so I didn't have that many materials, so it, every like log that I placed was like a real pain. It was like chopping them with like an iron axe. You know how it is in early game, and I think I probably got a little lazy on it because it probably needs to be bigger to be very effective. But there are gonna be short little stumpy wizard towers too. Maybe there's a short little stumpy wizard who lives in a short little stumpy wizard tower. I don't know. Well, let's walk a little bit, and then I will meet you over in the Mediterranean style place. All right, back on the main road, and if you walk over here, you're gonna see something that, funny enough, has been this way for about 50 or more episodes, which is a fun little farmhouse that I've just never built yet. I keep forgetting, I never think about it, and I need to build it. But yeah, I want to fill up this area with farmland. So one of the things that I have done recently is I stopped building farmland as the land goes. I build the custom landscape first, and then I build the farmland. You can see, like over here, for example, I really want this little wheat field to be nestled up in a little valley of cliff, so that's what I did there. That works, I think, works really well. I think it's really, really cool. Over here, same thing. Whenever you're walking on the road, I wanted you to look over here and see the farmland raising up behind you, just so you can see more of it. If it's very flat, you don't see much, or certainly if it goes downhill, you don't. So yeah, I think this works really well as well. I think probably what I'd like to do is raise the road a little bit so you can see a little bit more of the farmland, but it's okay. It's okay the way it is now. But if you walk up along here and you follow this little road, you're gonna see all these custom trees that I did. I have the goal of eventually every tree in the kingdom, in the world, that is, part of the kingdom or near houses and stuff like that will be a custom tree. And that's gonna take some time, but that's what I want to do. So we're working on it. We're adding custom trees like crazy, and you can see yeah, they're okay. They're nothing incredibly special or spectacular, but I think they're a lot better than the vanilla trees, and that's really what I care about. So if you walk along here, you get to this new style that I worked on. This is inspired a lot by our good friend Germsy Boy. This is a Tuscan Mediterranean styled kingdom or village or whatever, and I really like it. I think it's really, really, really cool. And I just walk through here, and there's quite a few houses just built all in a similar but all different style, different trim, different roofs, different wall materials, but same basic ideas. I think that was sort of important to whenever you're in this area, feel immersed as if these are rose farmers. This is the idea. Actually, this is the queen's family. This is where the queen of our kingdom came from, and she eventually married into the royalty of the castle here. But for right now, that's why the castle now has a rose in its sigil, and I think that's kind of cool. But yeah, you can just walk along here, and you just get a cool feeling of being really immersed, and it's pretty big too. Up there, eventually, I want to build like a Tuscan castle or fortress or Tuscan-styled keep or something like that up there. I have that's again like a custom plateau that's all just kind of waiting for me to find the time and the motivation in the episodes to actually go do it. But eventually, we'll work on that. You can just see. I think this is super cool. Oh, the banners don't work. That's weird. That should be a pillager banner. I don't know why it's not. But yeah, and then a big rose field. I'll tell you one of the regrets I have in this little area is that I planted the roses on grass. I wish I had gone in and peppered in a whole bunch of coarse dirt and maybe path block and something, maybe mushroom or something like that, just to make it all brown, because I think that it's okay. It's cool that it's on grass, and probably more realistic in a lot of ways that it's on grass, but I don't think it's quite as effective. One nice thing is that I can have a little road that goes in here to harvest them, but you can see, especially if you're flying, and I'm trying to do this whole tour on the ground just to give you that like boots on the ground feeling, but yeah, it's not quite as effective because it's on grass. So yeah, my little 2 cents as a builder. If you're building, go ahead and put your roses and your flowers and all that kind of stuff on dirt, because it makes a big difference. And just over here, I had a little bit of space, so I filled it. And that's one of the big things that I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to plant rows of crops in all the crop fields, so it's not just crop spam. You know what I mean? It makes a big difference. And so every time I have a little space, I try to fill it with crops, because I think medieval people back in the medieval days would fill up every space. They would use all of their space for sustenance, for food and for all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think it was important to get some of that done. And I think this looks really cool. Now, you may have noticed what's coming up here very shortly is going to be my mountain. And if you've watched essentially any video from this world, because I showed off a lot, you've probably seen the mountain. But the mountain is spectacular. It's one of the best decisions I made in this entire world. And it's still not done, actually. The mountain is still not done. We're still in a place... I missed the turn. We're still in a place where there's a couple decisions that I have to make, and I don't know yet what they should be. So I was recording the last clip about 3 a.m., which is ridiculous for me, but all of a sudden I hear thump, 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 thump. I turn around like, what the heck? And my 5-year-old's come flying down the stairs, as he does, and I was like, buddy, what's going on? Do you have to go potty? What? And he's like, just crawls up on the couch and just lays there, and like, I don't know, he just didn't want to be in his room by himself or whatever. But that meant that it took him like an hour and a half to fall back asleep. So he slept on the couch, but it took forever. And so I've been basically awake. I think I nodded off just like sitting on the couch next to him until he fell asleep. But wow, look at this. I'm back into it now. Look at this beauty. I got to tell you, I'm really considering going RTX, like using this RTX pack for the next phase of videos. I'm really thinking about it. I had kind of planned on getting to episode 200 of this, capping off all the existing areas that we have, finishing them all, and then sort of rebranding as an episode 1, same world, just going like over across the ocean there, and doing basically the bad guys kingdom, and calling it like RTX, Minecraft, and just always playing in RTX. But I'm almost thinking about doing it like sooner than later. I think I might. I'm so inspired by this, especially with how it looks now that everything's not glossy. The water looks really good. Look at that. I mean, look, it's awesome. There's a few textures that I'm not totally crazy about but now I think I'm starting to gain the ability to fix that. Like, for example, let me see. For example, the slab. Let me show you what's going on. I know this is supposed to be a world tour, right? And here we are. We're talking about the RTX texture pack and stuff. So for the slab, you see these nice indentations, stuff like that, and they're there on the side. But if I double slab it and it goes vertical, I lose all that because I don't have the dent map thing there. So that's something I'd have to work out and learn how to do. But I think I can. I feel that I can now. Anyway, regardless, this is a little fishing village that we did. I don't know, fairly early on. It was one of the first places that we broke off and did, just to sort of show that people live in different places and stuff like that, and made these little docks. I just think the whole area just looks cool. It's nestled right in the valley of this mountain, and yeah, it's pretty neat. And up here, we have my Patreons, which I'll be adding more to here in a couple days. I got a few more that need to be added to and given your little statue. So if you grab the world tour, you can come and find your own statues like Reef and Andy and Gabe, and you can come and find your own. It's I've renamed the tiers: Emerald tier, Gold tier, and Diamond tier. And yeah, just using a block, so it cost me a little bit of something to put up a block. And yeah, I think it's kind of cool. So we're heading now towards, I guess, the main kingdom. When I decided to do this world, I decided that I wanted to do everything in the same place. I didn't want to jump around like a lot of Let's Plays do, like building, a desert kingdom and a blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. I wanted to stay here, basically. So it's all in the same place. In fact, if you're not playing with RTX on, it's all within render distance, which I think is super cool. I know everyone is tired of hearing me talk about this, but it's 80 chunks without RTX on. With RTX on, it's like 24 chunks on my PC anyway. But without it, it's like 80 chunks. And, you know, right now, this is morning, by the way. If I wanted to, let's do a time set noon and see. So, like, you see how much the light changes just because it's noon. Now it's directly overhead, and yeah, we'll do maybe this part of the tour with it being noon o'clock. So this giant windmill used to be my villager breeder. I guess it technically still is, but I don't need villagers anymore. I'm good on all that. So there's just 4 villagers up there with some crops and oh yes, because I turned off mob griefing. So I turned off 2 things. I turned off mob griefing because I didn't want to use an add-on. I actually used an add-on for Enderman for a little while, and I didn't really love it. I didn't love having an add-on because I was worried about compatibility issues and blah, 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 whatever. And I also turned off weather. Reason being, the mountain over there is in a taiga, which means it snows, which means that I'm getting snow layers everywhere, and I don't want them. I want there to be snow where I want there to be snow and not other places. So yeah, I turned off weather, so that means it never rains in this world. That's kind of a drag, but as a builder, I think it's important and needed to be that way. So this road, you just walk through all these really just cool crop fields. I think they work really well. I tried all different sort of, you know, rows and patches and different styles of doing it. And then we came to the first castle walls I did. I wasn't even really sure I was going to do castle walls, but I thought about it. I thought, yeah, you know what? I think it will be cool. Let's go ahead and do castle walls. And then that turned into a big project where you'll see in here in just a few minutes. Look, you can see the mountain. Oh, on the polished andesite, you can see the mountain. Oh, that's really cool. I love that you can see it on the polished, but not on the regular andesite. Wow. I think I'm sold. I think I'm sold on RTX. All the doubters, look at this map. Look at the Blackstone now. All the doubters, you gotta tell me, are you still doubters or are you starting to love it? And you know, keeping in mind that it's not quite a finished product yet, but yeah, I'm starting to really love it. I think it's really something. It's really something special. It's a little bit bright, and unfortunately, you can't change the brightness. So I'm not sure that I know how to scale that down just a hair, but I'd like to. So, yeah, over here we have a sheep farm that I did. All the colors of sheep farm, fully automatic, which is really cool. All you gotta do is drop in a whole ton of shears, and all the sheep are just, they're just sheared. It's really a nice way of doing it, and that's actually not it. The sheep farm's over here. This is it. So yeah, so let me show you the sheep farm. So if you walk in here, you get all 16 colors, 4 colors per building, and you walk in there, there's all my, like, cyan. I guess I'm in creative and I'm not clicking. There's my blue, etc. You know, they're all there. I did retexture the wool color or the wool texture. I just felt like I didn't really like the regular vanilla texture. I like this more. It looks. I don't know. It just looks a little bit more natural than the completely vanilla look. I think it's cooler. I don't know. Maybe you hate it, but I think it's kind of neat. And I also up there, that is an oak slab up there, rather an oak. Oh, I need to change the mapping on that. Okay, I'll change the mapping on that. But that's an oak trapdoor. So I don't really love the vanilla oak trapdoor. So I changed it to be basically an oak color of the spruce trapdoor variant. All the rest are all regular. It's just the oak one, since you use it so much and it has those holes in it, I think it kind of messes up your builds a little bit. And yeah, you can just walk through here. You see, this was a procedurally generated village back in the olden days. Look at that red glass. Oh man, look at that. Let me see if you look out. Oh, it's so cool. Oh man, it looks awesome. Yeah, so what I did is I tried to keep all the houses, like this is one, and update them just a little bit, update them as much as as little as I could, but then add more houses really close, so you get some nice narrow little city alleyways and all that kind of stuff. So some walk under places, and yeah, I think it worked out really well. Over there is a custom mountain where I built a diagonal castle. I'll show that in just a second here. A little blacksmith. This looks really neat. I like how light change, like when you first walk into a dark room, your eyes aren't adjusted, or when you walk outside, it's really bright and then it kind of dims like your eyes really do. It's a really, really cool effect. This church I think was cool. This church was this a procedure generated church? I think it was. Yeah, it was. And I just tore it. I tore most of it down and I kind of redid it. But yeah, it's cool. A little graveyard in the back. This is a graveyard for all my pets, all my beautiful pets that I've had in my in my life. Tribute is paid to them back here. So if you want to come see my pets' names from when I was a little boy and up until only a couple years ago when I lost my last dog. And yeah, you can just see this town it's pretty sprawling. I don't know exactly how many houses we have here, but it's quite a few. Let me fly up here and just give you a basic footprint of this part of the town. This is what we've been calling this Old Town. And it's been overhauled twice, actually. Once it was overhauled to put in all the black roads and make it just look a little bit nicer. And then the other time I took out almost all the trim. I had a lot of these houses had trim and I took out most of it. I left a few, but I took out most. And you can see the landscaping, all this landscaping was done custom outside the castle walls. And yeah, it's pretty nice. But since we're flying up here anyway, let's go over to this part. And you can see the diagonal keep. This is the Rose Keep, I think, or Rose Castle. This is for where the Queen lives, and the Queen came from over in our Tuscan Mediterranean style, and she married the prince who later became the king of this area, and she has kind of her own little place here, and you can see the beautiful interior, which is, it's not even work in progress. It's not really in progress yet, but it will be at some point. We'll work on more of this, and I think it worked out really well. Like a nice little courtyard area with some nice views, beautiful view of the mountain, all that kind of stuff. And then if you walk over on this side, you're going to see Dockside, which is the newest thing. So all of this, everything over here has happened in between episode 151 and 175. So this is like the 25 episode block that we're in right now. And you can just see, I really went for... first I built all the docks, and I really went for oddly shaped houses. Like if you look at the houses, there's not a lot of square fronts. Like they're all just sort of weird and mismatched and meshed up and all that kind of stuff. And here you can see, I'm pretty proud of Dockside. I think it turned out really well. They're like, it looks a lot more modern than the rest. And yeah, the docks need some serious love. They're very empty still, and we'll work on that. We just need, I need more time. The most recent thing I did over in this area probably was this garrison over here. This is going to be our big military fortress. It's not all done yet, but some parts of it are. Some parts over here, we did a little archery sort of training area, and up there we're going to do some commander areas. There's going to be some barracks, and there's going to be some melee training areas over here for the soldiers to work and practice their craft. But, we'll get to that. One nice thing about doing this series is it's a really bite-sized series. It's always been intended to be just little bit by little bit, not let me build a huge giant castle in one episode type of thing. It's going to be like, because for a while I was going daily on this series, and you can only accomplish so much in survival when you're going daily. So I think people generally like hanging out and seeing the whole evolution of the world instead of just like you log on one day and a whole crap ton is done, And out front here of this place, I planted some crops, and they really turned out really well. I really like these crop fields here. Basically, these crop fields were old, and I just expanded them to include a little custom lake and some crop fields over here. RTX doesn't look great from flying above. It looks a little bit better, especially at noon, actually. Let me set the time. Time set night. Let's just see what it looks like at night. Oh, my goodness. Oh, man. There's a lot of atmosphere at night, and yeah, you can just see it's just super cool. I just really love it. But before we go any further over that way, we'll get over there in just a few minutes. Oh, check this out. Let's just walk through there. Oh, this is a river. I thought that was a road. Let's just walk over this way. Okay, so we're gonna drink in all of this atmosphere here, and we're head up to the old castle, the first castle that we built, which I think turned out really well. This, before we get there, this is our initial experience farm. It was a villager trading hall, and villagers in Bedrock, they unlink from their stations, which makes them not that usable in a lot of ways. So what happens, I basically had to set all of my villagers free. They're all farmers. So what I would do is I had these underground farms, and I would just harvest a whole bunch of beetroot seeds, wheat, carrots, potatoes, everything, and then I'd come up here and trade, and that's how I would repair my tools. And, it's not the fastest repairing method. But then I learned about villager curing, because it wasn't a thing when I made that. You couldn't get the zombie discount, the villager curing zombie discount thing. Now you can. So when they enabled that in Bedrock, which I think was 116.0, I made an iron farm, which is where we're going to head in just a few minutes. And that turned it, since you can trade them, you can do like 16 trades instead of 5. So I would do that, and that worked a lot better for a while. And now I have an under the mountain, I have a gold farm for zombie pigmen, which is with a trident arrow, and that's obviously that's 1,000 times faster. So that's what I use now to repair my tools, and it's nice to get gold that way as well. But really, it's just experience. So if you walk up here, you're gonna see the gates, which are still unfinished, like 100 episodes later, maybe even more. It's really amazing that I haven't done that gate yet. My first storage building up in this area was over here, and I outgrew that very quickly. But you can see an incredibly outdated map. Wow, that map is super outdated. Yeah, okay, there's a lot of new stuff there, but you can see what it used to look like way back in the olden days. And, oops, leave that open. And yeah, a little courtyard here. I think this is cool. I really like this entrance. This is eventually going to have manor houses up in here. I think some really rich people's houses that we'll get to down the road. And yeah, I like the brick and the granite entryway to bring in some color. And this is my main storage building, which you've probably seen a whole bunch of times. If you walk over in here, you'll see, yeah, it's just, I think it's pretty cool. Down there is supposed to be my vault. This texture is a little bit hard to see through. I'm not sure exactly why. I'd like to get to, I'm gonna have to get to the bottom of that. This is supposed to be regular glass texture. It's pretty tough to see, but yeah, I'll check that out. But yeah, this is supposed to be the vault. It's supposed to be where I keep all my diamonds, but I've not been mining down at diamond level very much. So honestly, I'm not getting very many diamonds. But yeah, you can just see, I decided to use all barrel storage because I don't need that much. And the things I do need a lot of, I have plenty of room for, like, and I have shulkers too, so if one of these gets full, I just throw everything in a shulker and continue about my day. But yeah, this is pretty much it for this place. Before we bring it back to daytime, let's go check out the castle up here. This is supposed to be the king's sort of room, the king's keep, like the royal business area. And you walk in here. It's a kind of nice entryway, I think. You walk in here, everything looks super nice. You over here, there's a bit of a receiving hall, there's a dining hall, some fireplace, some actual interiors here. Some of the houses have interiors, some of the earlier houses, I just haven't been doing them recently. All the paintings are from the Realm of Vastin. They're all screenshots that I brought over from the Realm of Vastin painting pack because I wanted to have some custom thing. In this world, the lore is that the Realm of Vastin is kind of their fairy tale. Like, that's like their Robin Hood stories or King Arthur stories, right? Like, they talk about the Realm of Vastin as like a fairy tale. I think that's kind of a fun little bit because this world is actually sort of set in humanity if you've been following the lore. There's a bit of a sci-fi element to this world and stuff like that. I think it's a different take on something. I think it works pretty well. So let's fly over to the iron farm and I'll show you what's going on with that. So before we get up to the Diorite Castle up there, which I love very, very much, there's this place called Shady Grove, which is just a little tiny village. I just want to have something here because it was just dead space in the world. So I saw this little house design that I just thought was cool. I just thought it was an interesting thing. It has grass roofs, like sod roofs, and it's super small. They're like 5x5 houses, but I just thought it was a cool idea, and I wanted to make them. So I came up with this idea of doing a very, very tight little dark, dense village and we named it Shady Grove. I can't remember who came up with that name offhand in the comments, but one of my YouTube friends named it that, and yeah, I think it worked out really well. I think it's a cool little place, and again, a lot of work to do. Like, we still have to do, custom the river and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's infinite things to do in this world, but yeah, it's coming along. We're getting there. But before we get any further, let's talk about this. So I wanted to have an iron farm in this world, and the thing about Bedrock is you can't have a workstation within 100 blocks of your iron farm, or the villager would unlink, and then it doesn't really work. So I need to figure out something to do to the land that would not be houses and stuff like that. So I came up with all this custom farmland. So we're built right now above nothing. Like, this is all custom raised because I wanted from down there, I wanted to see this land sort of rise up, and it has worked really well. And then I wanted to put a castle on the top, and furthermore, I wanted to put the castle on top of the White Cliffs of Dover from England. One of my favorite images ever in the whole world. I've just always loved them. I've just always loved the image of the White Cliffs of Dover. So I decided to recreate them. Now I want to talk a little bit about my texture pack just a second. There's a couple blocks here. This is endstone because in our lore, the end is the moon. There's like actual like people living on the moon from Earth and stuff like that. And so I made it gray. I made it grayscaled, and I did recolor all the terracotta to make it more true colored and not that sort of off-white, beigey, peach. I don't know what you can call it. Like, you know, the vanilla terracotta that I don't feel is very color accurate. So I recolored them, and I like it a lot more. So if you come up here to the Diorite Castle, I just like it. I like Diorite Castles a lot. I know Diorite's hated on quite a bit, but I think it's cool. I feel like I'm a little bit in the minority. But let me show you the iron farm that's in here. So this is based on a prowl design. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Oh my goodness. That's so cool. This is based on a prowl design, and the design is basically where there are villagers. You can't even freaking see them. Wow, this glass is super. I really got to address this glass. But yeah, here's all the villagers, and they're all unlocked. And what there is up here on top, there's a regular villager and a zombie villager. So I cure it. I throw the curing thing in here, and he's cured just for a split second. And then he gets turned back into a zombie because we planned hard here. But in the meantime, all these villagers, because there's glass on the other side, they see him change, and you get the discount from all of them for a little while. Like, certainly long enough to do tons and tons of trades and stuff. And I have a lot of guys that trade metal. I have all the good enchanted books that I need. I mean, honestly, I've just from the beginning here, I have like more stuff that I'm going to need for a long time. Like, that might not be that many looting books on a server, but for me, how many times am I going to need looting 3 on my sword? I don't really need it anyway. All these efficiency 5 books, I mean, I don't lose my stuff that much, you know what I mean? So, like, I can't see needing to do this again, but if I do, then, you know, it's easy. I just cure the villager and make my trades and call it a day. But I did something else with this iron farm, and obviously the interiors still aren't done. But I did something else where I went with the palette of granite roofs, because, this is based on, I forgot to tell you, this is based on the Beauty and the Beast castle. At the time I built this, my boys were watching Beauty and the Beast cartoon pretty much 6 times a day. So I have seen this castle, and I thought, that is a really cool castle design. So I kind of tried to base it as much as I could on that, and that's why there's like that little tower up there. That's where Belle lives, and the beast throws her in there and all that kind of stuff. I think it works pretty well. I really like down here. I use the warp blocks to make sort of I don't know, like an older copper roof. Like maybe this tower was older than the rest or something, and this is newer copper. Of course, this was long before they announced that copper is coming to the game. But anyway, to get this much copper, yikes, yikes. Even with the reduced copper recipe that they just changed it to, still a lot. Over here, this is going to be an enchanted forest. At some point, I just started the wall, one of the last couple episodes before the tour here, where you can see this is the beginning of what the wall is going to be. There's going to be a very tall wall here, because this enchanted forest, the people who live outside of here, and this, by the way, is 100 blocks away from that, so I can actually put houses here if I want to, and I probably will want to. The people who live here don't want this enchanted forest to get out, so they've built up this sod wall, and then there's going to be a wall sort of on top of the wall, and I think it's going to be a really cool thing, and I really love it. I think it's going to be awesome having the enchanted forest just on the outside of the Diorite Beauty and the Beast castle, just with all this custom farmland. Yeah, I love this world so much. I'm having such a good time. Starting next episode, I'm going to be working on the Guardian farm for real, which is going to be a giant snow castle, and it's going to be right over there. You can't see it with RTX on because of the chunks rendering, but you can see it without, and I just love that. I love that idea. Like, if I'm at the furthest point, this is east. If I'm at the furthest point east of my starting area without RTX, I can see the entire thing. Here, let me show you real quick. Check this out. I also love how you can just enable it like without optifying with any of the other stuff. You can see the wizard tower, you can see spawn, you can see the little spawn villages all within one place. So something I've been talking about quite a bit on this series is new building techniques that are new to me, and it's good. It's ways to make different areas of the world be different, right? So for example, I don't want to necessarily see the Tuscan Mediterranean style village from here. So that's why that castle, let me grab the cursor, that castle, or the mountain rather, that's right there is going to come down kind of slowly. That way I don't see that. That way it's going to seem like a totally separate place, even though it's actually technically very close. I think that's a really cool thing. I love that from the From the iron farm, you're going to see the ice castle, and from the ice castle to the iron farm, see those icebergs that are coming up? Now, the ice castle right now, the guardian farm is all drained. I finally got all drained, but it is not built up yet, so it's just down, so you can't really see it from here. But you can see where it's going to be. It's going to be right at the edge of. See it coming in there. That's going to be a giantly tall. Frosted over ice castle. I just think it's gonna be awesome. And I love that you're gonna be able to see everything from everywhere. I just think that's awesome. Where I think we're gonna head after episode 200, I want to fill out as much of this kingdom as I can. This is very likely going to be mostly cropland with maybe a village or two sprinkled in here. I want to go across there. You see that dark oak? You see the pillager tower? That's where we're headed after episode 200, and that's probably going to be when we kind of rebrand as a RTX sort of thing. Maybe, I don't know, but this is going to be the area that we work on. We're going to rehab that village as an evil or dark sort of place. Those guys are not friends with these guys, and I think it's going to be pretty cool. We're also going to do some major landscaping because this is supposed to be the big dock port of their kingdom, and there's no way out. So, I mean, I definitely want to take a lot of this land out so that way ships can get in and out. And what we'll do is we'll end up building some sort of way that ships can pass. Maybe that'll factor in the lore. Like, they'll let ships pass for a big toll, and that's one of the reasons why these guys don't like each other. I don't know. We're gonna work out some cool stuff. But there's one more thing to show you before we go, and that's something I've not worked on at all these last 25 episodes. So if you're brand new to the series and you've not been watching every single episode, well, then you probably don't know about this. But this is the dark secret tunnel area, and there is actually a button that turns off the lava, but it's very slow, so I get lazy, so I go this way. And if you go down through here, you see this lush cave, you see this weird futuristic sci-fi thing, and you come down here. Oh, I think this is super cool. Should we turn on our RTX and see what it looks like? Yeah, let's. Why don't we? It's right there. Thank you. It's that easy. Oh, so good. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, we got some cool shade and stuff. Yeah, love it. So this is going to be the place where the space shuttle from the moon can come down and land. So the space shuttle from the moon is going to come in through here. It's going to go over here. There's actually a little bit of a bridge, I think, right there. And the space shuttle will just fly through here, and it will land in this. This is going to be a shuttle bay eventually. And it's not yet. But oh, look, it's like blue light. It's so cool. But this will be where we'll park the shuttle, and then what you'll do is you'll walk in the shuttle and you'll go into the end. And welcome everybody. Oh, this needs to be more metallic. I like it though. Welcome to the end. I've not seen this in RTX yet, so this is new to me. But yeah, this is the space base. Oh man, holy cow, this looks amazing. Holy cow. This is unbelievable. I retextured jack-o'-lanterns. These are jack-o'-lanterns. They're actually, I got them to work in art. This was so difficult to get that to work, but I did it. I made a billion times. I made mistakes and had to redo it to get them to actually be the right texture in Bedrock. But if you walk over through all this, oh, you know what? Oh, okay. I need to redo. This is supposed to be flat, not brick shaped. Okay, I'll redo that at some point. So that's fine. That's from the other texture pack that I based mine on still. So that's a mistake, but that's okay. You can come in here. You can just see this. Isn't it cool? Look at this. So we got some, let's see. This is my jack-o'-lantern farm. So you can just get your shear them. And every time I need jack-o'-lanterns, this is where I come in here. This is my, what do you call this? Cactus farm. And right now it's turned off actually because right now I'm using it for bone meal. Before I made my fish farm, which I guess I didn't show you, but I have a squid farm. Before I made it, this was how I got all my bone meal. Is I got my bone meal just by cactus coming into this composter, and you can see it goes pretty high, so there's enough. I think there's enough that it kind of works. But let's fly up here and take a look, because again, this is new to me. Let's see what this looks like in RTX. Holy cow. Holy cow, this is better than I ever thought. This is really cool. So this is my moon base. It's supposed to be the broken up moon of the moon's called Aparo, and the mainland is called Totalin. This is the moon of Aparo, and you can see this is their spaceship. They landed. And yeah, it is pretty cool. Let's come over here and see. I think right here, this is their oxygen plant. So they've bioengineered plants to give them all the sustenance that they need. I think I can walk in here actually. Can I go up? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So they've bioengineered plants that produce tons and tons and tons of oxygen. So that way, instead of having machines make the oxygen, they have these plants, and that's sort of how they're breathing here on the moon, just with all these plants here. And I think it works out pretty well. It's kind of cool. And is there a way out from here? Oh, why is this water? I didn't even know that was. I don't know why I did that. That's kind of weird. So if you walk out here, you can get back out to the moon. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Oh, I like the obsidian pillars, even though at some point I'm going to take them down, I think. Little satellite dish, which honestly I don't really love. It's too small. It doesn't really work, but it's fine. It's all going to be filled in. This place is going to be super, super, super full of just stuff. So much stuff in this area. But I think that is going to probably wrap it up for me today. So I am going to download the world, and I'll put up on my Dropbox. You can click the link. If you're watching this in the far future and you're like, hey, it didn't work. I should have said this in the beginning. No one watches the end of the video. If you are watching this far future and it doesn't work, check out the most recent world tour or hit me up on Discord and you can direct you to the right episode for the most recent tour, because I only keep the most recent one up. Okay, and that's going to be it for the texture pack. You can grab it, and again, same deal. Like, once I make a new one, then this one won't work anymore. You can grab it in the most recent video or in Discord probably, okay? All right, love you all. Thank you so much for watching and coming along with my little world tour. We'll see you next episode, starting the Guardian farm. It's going to be a good one. We'll see you then. Bye, everybody.